Blue Collar here. How many of you have heard of the generation gap? Yes, that term has been around for quite some time. Even when I was growing up, we heard about the generation gap. But as I see life and as I've gotten older, I really see this in play. Now, what do I mean by that? Younger people basically have no regard for older people, unless it's maybe part of their family. And even then, it's minimal. And I hate to say this, and I hate to paint with a broad brush, but as Freud said, sex is all and all is sex. And what happens is that when you're younger, you see the world in a sexualized manner. In other words, is that person good looking? Is he a potential mate for me? I'd like to go out with him. Oh, he's so cute, and so forth and so on. And that is, you no longer have that when you're older. So therefore, you get no respect and no attention from a younger person. I say a younger person, I mean anywhere from adolescence up to maybe up into your 30s. You might as well drop dead as far as they're concerned. The only thing and the only time they pay attention to you is if they are working somewhere and they need to collect your money for a sale. Then they're there. And even then, they're cold as ice. They just do what they have to do. There is no personal interchange. It's like dealing with a robot. And this is something that, while it was always there, I suppose, it has become worse and exacerbated. But what has exacerbated this? I'm going to tell you what it is. You may agree, you may disagree. I don't give a damn, frankly. I don't give a damn whether you agree or disagree. But what has changed things and has exacerbated the generation gap is electronic devices such as the computer and other things, because younger people have grown up with these devices, but older people have not. Now, some older people have learned these things because of the job that they have, and they are up to snuff. But in my opinion, they can never be as facile with these electronic apparatuses as someone who grew up with them. You see, 3-year-old kids are manipulating on the iPhone war games and all sorts of stuff that I wouldn't even know the first thing to do. And yet they're able to do it from a very, very young age. The way I've seen things is that younger people look right through older people, right through them. They don't even see them. They see them, but they don't see them. It makes no mark on their psyche. They look right through them as if they're invisible. And this has caused a tremendous rift in our society and in our world. No respect whatsoever, as Rodney Dangerfield, my favorite comedian, said. No respect. I get no respect. And this is exactly why older people, have moved into 55 and older communities, because they get no respect on the outside. This really hit me several months ago. I was coming from a store, and then I stopped by a trendy area and noticed that most of the people walking along the street were younger people in their 20s and 30s. And they didn't even recognize that there was a person. I had to go in the mirror to make sure I was even there. And I'm saying to myself, what am I doing here? I'm on another planet. I don't belong here. And so what happens is, you get enough of these experiences and you feel like you don't belong with these younger people. And they certainly don't want any part of you unless they want to collect money from you. And this is what forces older people into, as I said, 55 and older communities, or even other areas where they have something in common with the people with whom they are living or in their neighborhood. And it's a shame because in the truth of the matter is, I think it's healthier to have or to live with people of all ages, because you get different perspectives, and you see someone who is attractive, and you like them, and some of them can be personable, not a lot of them, but some of them can be, and you have a nice interchange because you see the whole strata of society. It's not the best thing, frankly, to be surrounded by nothing but older people. I just don't think that's the healthiest thing. But as I said before, older people have been forced almost into these, I don't want to call them concentration camps because that's a little too strong. Nobody's forcing them into there. But they are into a situation where they're all huddled together and talking to their people, their peers who know them, who understand them, who talk about things that maybe happened a few years ago, whereas a younger person would say, what the hell are you talking about? And it's a very sad state of affairs as I see it. But I don't think there's anything that I'm going to do to change this situation. And again, we come to the situation of adapting. You have to, as you're getting older, you're going to have to think about perhaps going into one of these 55 and older communities to live, because you just don't have anything in common anymore with younger people, and they really don't want to be around you. They really don't. They don't even see you. You're invisible. I invite you, as I have in the previous videos, to look at my video, You Must Learn These Things to Understand Your Life. And especially the third part where we talk about change. You have to adapt to these situations. You have to make up your mind. But first, before making up your mind as to how you're going to deal with this situation, you've got to realize that this is going on. You can't walk blindfolded through a situation where your whole world has changed, where you mean nothing to many of these younger people. You got to decide how you're going to handle it, because you're not going to change their minds. So how are you going to handle it? I gave you one example about 55 and older communities. There are other places where older people tend to congregate. In my opinion, it's not the best thing, but sometimes we're forced into it, because otherwise we feel degraded, unappreciated, and ignored. And that is a horrible triad to deal with. I invite you to subscribe, to like, and to share my videos with other people that you may know. I also invite your comments. Perhaps you may have another way of looking at this. But I think this is a problem with our society, and we have to adjust to changing circumstances. This is the Blue Collar Psychiatrist, out!